Welcome to your Magic Moon message. This is the Peace Dealer. For those of you who viewed my full moon ceremony in Aquarius, I did mention the next 72 hours is going to be crazy. And we've successfully completed harvest. We're coming into the completion cycle. So we had the new moon in Cancer, okay? That turned into the third quarter square, or the first quarter square with the moon in Libra. Then we had the full moon in Aquarius, and from 180 degrees to 270 degrees of course, the moon in Taurus, where we're about to be in another couple of days, that will conclude the completion of this transit. Since we started in Aquarius, we are actually coming out of the final part of the harvest. So we, over Pluto, awakened a supernatural understanding of the talents we are performing on stage as we socially integrate. The moon in Pisces seeks to now apply this depth, or rather unconventional and supernatural energy, into transforming your understanding of the metaphysical, increasing synchronization rates between your body and your mind, and also drawing updated boundaries relative to who more you trust and what more you trust. Now, those facets of this harvest are now literally being brought into the light. And this is driving you forward, okay? Because we had this full moon in a fixed sign, what we're harvesting is energy. This energy transformed our perspective, and we're now applying this change of belief into the application of who we understand we are and how we align this original understanding towards our performance, which is going to be giving you a very powerful receptivity into everything you can understand you have leveled up in such a short few months. This is also going to be very fated in connecting with the North Node, as the North Node is getting ready to leave Aries. So really be mindful of what you're doing, who you're talking to, and who you're showing up as. This is the 240 degree Sagittarius signature from moon to sun, as the sun is still in the first decan, the first 10 degrees of Leo. And as such, a lot of these reflections are initial and not final, giving room for development. But because this is the Sagittarius signature of ascension and light, you are understanding the higher exaltation, or let's just say you are putting into a higher understanding who you are as you express who you are through this Sun Leo portal, especially with the Mercury, your brain processor that has just crossed into Virgo, applying all this passion and courage and, let's just say, more energy, so that you can now apply it analytically as far as the details, aka receipts, that will come through. The retrograde will happen in a few days, probably by next week. So what that feels like is looking at your accounting book and realizing that the numbers are different. And so the retrograde reevaluates your thinking so you can account for this change in the details, the numbers, the way with which you're getting ready to process how and analyze how you are integrating this development is in question. And over the next couple of months, we will, fully and thoroughly rectify, adjust, and perfect it. All right. Regardless, though, this harvest is not only an understanding of the power of the talents you're going to be showing yourself through expressing and harvesting this potency, it's going to align a whole lot into who you are. And this is pretty much saying that synchronicities you may or may not have been aware of over the past 48 hours, You're taking actions that apply what it is you've experienced. And these actions will help you understand who you are. This understanding is what you're going to express on stage to the audience, fully centering you in your authenticity. And the resonance with the nodes allows you to understand the actions you're taking to align yourself more authentically and what more you must do so that you can continue to develop and progress in ways that maximize your efficiency or the actions that you're taking. Of course, what's going to happen after this is we're going to finally begin to complete the cycle, and that 10th house aspect is the high score. So you're coming into the moon in Taurus to take these actions and now strengthen the quality of what it's all worth. Obviously, the completion of moon in Taurus, sun in Leo is what is the real value of this performance. And that's when the moon will go into Gemini and we'll see who enjoyed your performance, who is in your corner. Then we'll have the new moon in Leo after the balsamic phase. So with the Chiron conjunction, this also is going to revisit another 28-day activation of healing. And in that alignment of the nodes, what you're destined to overcome through vulnerabilities and ego conflicts with your spirit that must be brought up so that you align them more in authenticity. It's a fancy way of saying that you really could get riled up, and the reactivity of Aries as a fire sign, if you think fire is very reactive, it's instinctual, it burns very quick, you can allow yourself to kind of fall into egoic patterns versus now with this angle seeing the higher light and understanding of how to integrate them and overcome them. And this could look like being a lot more savage, but there's a greater integration in how you balance this versus just allowing your own moods to rule you. The fun part about this transit is the 300-degree sextile that the moon will be making to Mars and Jupiter in Gemini. So as you're understanding more this original identity and authenticity that you're integrating, this is going to also account for the expansion of your vocabulary. So given that your mindset is leveling up and you're taking very enlightened and smart actions that open up the variable possibility with Mars in Gemini of all sorts of actions you can take, this evolution of power in connecting with the moon in Aries aligns and ties in this understanding of self so that you have more to think about, you have more to actually act off of. And in a nutshell, this series of activations and transits are going to have you feel so much more like yourself, but in a way where you have transformed out of old doubts and old beliefs, making way for this activation of new talents coming into a week and a half. What's also amazing with the sextile to Pluto and Aquarius that's making a Gemini signature, the 30 degree of the moon in Aries to Pluto and Aquarius, is this is where you will, moving forward, become so much more noticeable of what you're activating, what you're doing to actually develop more of these abilities, and really understanding the identity of what it is and subsequently who you are, because this is what you're expressing. Once again, people live a dream, and given that the physical brain can only perceive less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, people share their delusions and illusions. Given that your brain perceives the past, you're not viewing the present right now. Your subconscious limits everything you're conscious of, and everything that you're perceiving has already happened, maybe a second or a few moments, based on what's actually happening. Take that also with the fact that, most people will never see 1 billion people at all. Like physically, it's almost near impossible to do in such a short amount of time, representing one's life and how no one person has all the answers. People can rely on peer-reviewed research that's subject to change with new information and analysis. And, certain people with Saturn and Pisces are experiencing their world of beliefs crumble in light of new information, truths that change the way they think and believe about things. And you stepping in this authenticity, performing on stage, will clash with certain worldviews and understandings that many people for the longest time have refused to open their mind and maybe admit that they're fucking wrong about. So you don't necessarily want to put yourself in a position where you're arguing with people who are grossly ignorant but feeling like they know about certain things. They've never practiced. They feel like, oh, it's not real. They don't even have to test it. As opposed to just continuing to demonstrate and perform it. The reason why you'll get projected on is because they're grossly insecure on the inside. And so for a way for them to maintain this illusion of beliefs, they have to tell themselves. When they're projecting at you, they're just telling it to themselves so that they continue to believe it, which means you're a threat to them. They're afraid of you. That doesn't mean that they're shaking in their boots when you come around, but there is some cognitive dissonance and element you will trigger. I'm mentioning this because transit like this is going to exaggerate this a lot and put you in a position to vocalize through action a lot of the integrity behind your beliefs and grow strength through any perceived conflict, especially with Venus that's still in Leo. That trine with the moon in Aries will really bring out aspects of your own authentic character and ways you can refine it through the creative expression of how much more fun it is to really express who you are, be who you are, and strengthen the courage to express yourself. So yeah, with the alignment with the nodes, look forward to, certain plot canon events being in the right place at the right time. Obviously, if you're taking actions that are inauthentic to you, but you think will make other people like you, that's going to have you miss opportunities that are solely for you. All right. So challenge yourself to be as eccentric as possible or just be you as possible. I know that's vague and very loaded, but I keep it that way so that you have as much room to define that for yourself. On top of also coming into a very powerful harvest of supernatural energy that, in aligning with your understanding of who you are, boom, you're able to now demonstrate the awakening of these talents on stage. And we're coming within range to activate through the new moon that will lead us into Virgo season in September, where these talents that we're harvesting, we're going to master them and perfect them to where it's more seamless to use at will. So take your time. Don't rush through this process. Y'all stay blessed as always. And until next time.